Check one, check two. Welcome to the BEASTwriter family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we are going to be breaking down, obviously, the biggest news that's coming out of the NFL circle is obviously Julio Jones. Everyone wants to know the impact that Julio Jones is going to have on the Tennessee Titans. We're going to go ahead and talk about that. We're also going to talk about what Julio Jones brings to the table in terms of the entire NFL. As you guys know, I cover all 32 NFL teams. I did a lot of research and a lot of, analytics, I guess you would say, in breaking down exactly what Julio Jones brings to the table as far as the best 1-2 punch in the NFL when you talk about a split end and a flanker, and what the best wide receiver duo in the NFL is. So I already put up something on Twitter. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I went ahead and put some stuff up there for you. But I'm going to break it down brick by brick, layer by layer, peeling back layers of the onion to get to the core, as I always like to say, in breaking down Julio Jones' trade value, what exactly happened, why it went down the way it went down, and exactly what I was hearing in NFL circles. Now, we're also going to go ahead and talk about Aaron Rodgers. It's been brought to my attention that Aaron Rodgers, obviously, news does not surprise anyone, that he's disgruntled in Green Bay, kind of wants out. We don't know if he's going to report to training camp. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the hard-hitting topics as it pertains to the 49ers. Obviously, they just signed torn ACL veteran who has not played a snap since 2019 after tearing his ACL in what I believe is a non-contact injury, which I spoke about in earlier podcasts, how 70% of ACL injuries are non-contact. Furthermore, the age group that ACL injuries occur is from 15 to 25. So we're going to go ahead and break down all those things and everything in between as we go ahead and talk shop here in the BEASTwriter family. All right, so let's go ahead and get to your guys' questions. There's a lot to talk about. We have 49ers Ultimate Report says the BEASTwriter keeps it 100. Have a great show. Thank you so much. Lavarius Monster from the BEASTwriter family says good vibes, all about good vibes only. And that's all we have here in the BEASTwriter family. If you're bad vibes, we're going to shoot you out. Peter Moa, what is up, brother? Glad to be able to catch you today. Thank you so much, Peter. And I hope you're having a splendid, happy Monday. And good vibes only here in the BEASTwriter family. It's all about, Peter Moa says, I'm going to be at the work for the stream, but I always catch up on all your stuff after. That's what's up. 49ers Ultra Report says, can't wait for tomorrow's guest for Mike Schumann. I saw that was a great one. Great stories about Bill Walsh. Yes. For those who don't know, please be sure to keep up on YouTube. If I'm not posting any content and you guys are like, dude, what's going on with BEASTwriter? I always try to stay up to date through the community page. So the community page is basically a bulletin board that I like to use, and keeping guys engaged as social media engagement is encouraged as far as to what's coming up, our new schedule, any hot guests that were coming on. If you guys check the community page right now, the latest post on there is my man and good friend Mike Schumann. You guys know who he is. He was on our BEASTwriter family live stream earlier in the year. He said, I want to come back on the BEASTwriter family show. I'll come on anytime you want me. We just work well together. He's going to be on. You guys know he played with the likes of, obviously, who? Joe Montana, played with Bill Walsh, Super Bowl winning wide receiver. He's going to be on tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you guys want to have and hear more stories about Bill Walsh, possibly want to engage with, go ahead and engage with Mike Schumann like you guys engage with me, go ahead and do so. It's a question and a live stream. So I'm really excited for that one. So be sure to hit the like button on that one. Turn on the bell notifications so you get notified when we go live. Because, although we have it at 11 a.m. and the schedule for 11 a.m., it could be 10:45, it could be 11:15. So you don't want to miss any gap in that live stream. So be sure to turn the bell notifications. Jan Paul Edward Didio says, what's up, B-Dub? What's going on? Arizona Cardinals fan base. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing well, because I am doing well. And what do you think about the Tony Jefferson going to the San Francisco 49ers? Tony Jefferson, if you guys don't know, let's just go ahead and break it down. Everyone wants to know about Tony Jefferson, right? So the 49ers signed, just bring it up here. The NFL news is the 49ers signed strong safety, free safety, whatever you want to call it, Tony Jefferson. Tony Jefferson broke in as an undrafted rookie free agent. He then played with the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, from 2013 to 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and then signed a big money contract with the Baltimore Ravens. He was highly ranked by PFF, obviously. And from 2017 to 2019, he was with the Baltimore Ravens, signed a big money contract, and tore his ACL in a non-contact injury in 2019, sat out 2020 as he recovered, and now in 2021, sitting here today, the San Francisco 49ers said, you know what, let's give this guy a shot coming off a torn ACL. The funny thing about this is 49er fans are like, oh man, like we don't want torn ACL injury players because, we're going away from that. Well, they just added Tony Jefferson. And if you're looking at it from a buyer's remorse standpoint, it's like, okay, what do they have to lose? They already have Jacoski Tart, right? Signed 1 year deal. They have Jimmy Ward back there. But other than that, they're going to need some depth. And Tony Jefferson definitely brings them depth. So even though he's injury prone, if he can be stable for the back end of the, and spot play, in case Jacoski Tart goes down or Jimmy Ward goes down, he can be an instant plug and play. So as long as that knee heals up and is ready to go and he can really drive off that foot, then I don't see a problem in his lateral agility and lateral mobility, because as you know, when you're playing in a strong safety position or a free safety position, you have to cover a lot of ground. A lot of times you are the last line of defense. So you need to be able to come up and hit and make a play. You also have to have the range to go ahead and make a play on the ball. So we're going to have to see how that one pans out. But Tony Jefferson, I kind of like the signing, to be honest with you, even though he's coming off a torn ACL. What are your thoughts on Tony Jefferson? Mr. TNA says, Beast, from Romania, last night we found out who won the 2021-2022 Super Bowl. England succeeded after 51 years to beat Romania 1-0 in soccer, which means the Tennessee Titans will win the trophy. You did say this yesterday on my live stream. Mr. TNA actually called it out. He, that's amazing that he called this out. You must have knew something. He's saying now that the Tennessee Titans will ultimately win the Super Bowl. And hey, I'm not gonna doubt it. I mean, they did pick up Bud Dupree, who is playing in the All-Pro grading system, out of first-team All-Pro grading system, in my grading system. Does that make sense? All pro. But yeah, they got Bud Dupree. They also have Harold Landry, so he's coming back. They drafted him. They got Jeffrey Simmons, who I really like in that 34 base defense. So there's a lot of talent there. They did lose some talent. I mean, on the back end there, Kevin Byard. Outside of him, Adoree Jackson, I believe, didn't he sign with the New York Giants, if I'm not mistaken? So what exactly is going on in Tennessee? They got Caleb Farley, but, is he going to be healthy enough? I mean, they got him in the first round. I thought they should have went in a different direction, but that's just me. That's just me. All right, so let's go ahead and keep it going, guys. Robert Watson, my man, says, "Sup, Beast? What up, BEASTwriter family? Looks like you caught some rays." Yeah, I did. I caught some rays. I do a lot of swimming nowadays, if you guys haven't noticed, in order to get my cardio in. As you guys know, the BEASTwriter family logo is that barbell and football and fitness. So they all kind of combine into one. So really like going into details as to like what I do for my workouts. And I know you guys wanted some workout videos. I actually started a TikTok per your guys' request. You guys wanted that. Mr. TNA says, time for Kyle Pitts to start at wide receiver. Yes. Kyle Pitts is more like a wide receiver than a tight end anyway. So with Julio Jones being gone, it really makes financial sense. Now, the good thing about this and the crazy thing about this for the Tennessee Titans is I'm going to bring this up. Everyone's talking about the trade about Julio Jones, but let's actually talk about the impact and back up the train a little bit. All right. So for those who don't know, the Tennessee Titans made a trade for Julio Jones, and in return, they gave up a second-round pick in 2022 and a fourth-round pick in 2023. And in exchange, the Atlanta Falcons, or sorry, not the Atlanta Falcons, how come I'm drawing a blank right now? The Atlanta Falcons, they get obviously a 2022 second round pick and a 2023 fourth round pick, but they send off a 6th round pick and Julio Jones to the Tennessee Titans. When you do that, what are you getting in return? Now, there's a lot of people saying, well, why didn't they trade him inside the NFC? And why did they trade him inside the NFC? And people are like, oh, what's the NFC? They wouldn't want to do that. Here's my logic behind that. If I'm a GM and I'm Terry Fontenot, I'm looking for the best deal, because let's face it, by the time the Falcons are relevant again, Julio Jones is going to be probably retired. I mean, he's 32 years old, right? He's in his 30s. So by the time the Falcons are relevant, because they have so many holes, it really doesn't matter how well Julio Jones does, because I mean, how many more years does Matt Ryan have on this? I mean, what's going to happen at the running back position? They should, in the second round, you guys know how I feel about when they traded, or when they should have traded back, or should have drafted, from 36 to 40, and then they got Richie Grant, and they should have stayed at 36 and just got Javonte Williams. But that's not my thing. Whatever. They didn't do that. So there's a lot of holes on the offensive line. I know they have a lot of multiple first-round picks. They lost Alex Mack. There's just a lot of there's a lot of holes. So for someone to say, oh, well, Terry Fontenot wouldn't trade him inside the NFC because that would be direct competition. Well, the Falcons are not direct competition anyways. They're not a playoff contender, so let alone Super Bowl contender. So it doesn't really matter. I think they would have made a trade. That's just my take. And this is the comp. 2022 second round pick and 2023 fourth round pick. Now, here's the kicker, what people don't understand. The Tennessee Titans went ahead and they lost Corey Davis, right? So Corey Davis was their first round pick. I believe he was drafted number 5 overall. And they opted not to pick up his 5th-year option, which would have been $15.7 million for the 2021 cap number. What happens is now the Julio Jones trade becomes more feasible because of the fact that they're saving $400,000. Because if you remember on yesterday's live stream and earlier live streams on Julio Jones, all the remaining team that had to pick up a fraction of that 2021 contract was 15.3. So 15.3 or 15.7 from Corey Davis minus 15.3, you're saving $400,000 if I'm doing the math correctly. Not a mathematician, but it pretty much makes sense. So it's a blessing in disguise because not only did the Tennessee Titans get an upgrade at the position, but they also saved money in return on the 2021 cap number. So I thought that was interesting. Not too many people talked about that. All right. So let's get to your questions. Wow, there's a lot of comments here. Okay. Waruna Pereira says, we'll miss Dude Work. Watch it later. Waruna Pereira, thank you so much. JT calling Mondo Monday. Mondo Monday. What's up, Beast? Happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, John Zach, and hope you're doing well. Oh, Mahalo Monday. I see you. I like that. Mahalo Monday. Robert Sheree from BEASTwriter Fantasy. What's up, Beast? What's going on, Robert? How are you doing on this Monday? We have Mariah. I haven't had Mariah on here in a long time. She said, what's up, Beast? Hope you are well. I hope you are well, too. And how's your podcast coming along? You have to hop on the show. You definitely have, Mariah, you have to hop on the show. You have to. Mr. TNA, she's like, no, I don't want to. No, it'd be cool to have Mariah on the show. Mr. TNA from Romania says, do you think the Cowboys team will be 200% motivated against the Bucs after Brady disrespected them, seeing the week 1 schedule? I don't know about motivated, but since we're talking about the Cowboys, we're going to go ahead and just dive right into it. So I did my research on my evaluation process as to who my top 1-2 wide receiver duo is in the NFL. I'm going to go ahead and break it down brick by brick so you guys can kind of have an idea of my thought process and where I think the Titans are headed. All right. So the best 1-2 wide receiver duo in the NFL, this is my top 5 rankings. All right. And it's based on health, which is durability, obviously, production, and potential. All right. So those 3 factors are going to weigh into my top 5 wide receiver 1-2 duo heading into the 2021 season. Let's start at number 5. All right. At number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys. See how I transitioned there? Talking about all 32. You talked about Dallas Cowboys. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. They have Amari Cooper and they also have CeeDee Lamb. Now, Amari Cooper doesn't make the flash plays. He's not very flashy. He doesn't dance in the end zone. He doesn't do a lot of window shopping or he doesn't do any of that. He doesn't do any celebratory actions, really. And I was thinking about this last night, and I said, you know what? Amari Cooper to me is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. I don't care what anyone says. He's very consistent. He won't make the flash plays, but he gets the job done. He's a consistent 1,100, 1,200 yard receiver and will get you 5 to 10 touchdowns a year, right? Very consistent, very, very consistent. One of the most savvy route runners in the NFL, and that's what I look for in my grading system. Amari Cooper, to me, is similar to what Tim Duncan was in the NBA, the big fundamental. So not a flashy player. Tim Duncan was never a flashy player, but he was fundamentally sound as they come and was always consistent, always in all-star games. You see the same thing here as Amari Cooper transitions into the NFL. So if I was to make a comp, now we're comparing players to NBA players and NFL players and doing that kind of comp, I would say that Amari Cooper is Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. And then you double down on those games. CeeDee Lamb, man. CeeDee Lamb had 935 receiving yards last year. He had multiple catches for first downs. And when you combine the two, Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, they had 166 catches. Do you know how many of those 166 catches resulted in first downs? Well, I have you covered. It's 100. 100 of those 166 catches resulted in first downs, which means 60% of the time they're moving the chains. How can you not put the Dallas Cowboys duo of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb inside the top 5? You can't do it. You cannot leave them you can't leave them out. You just can't do it. So that's why they're ranked number 5, and that's why I have them ranked there. Moving on to number 4, I have the Minnesota Vikings. You have Justin Jefferson, my draft crush last year, who broke the NFL rookie record for receiving yards in a by a rookie with 1,400 receiving yards. And then you had Adam Thielen, one of the most security blanket wide receivers you will ever find in the NFL. And he had 925 receiving yards. The two combined for 21 touchdowns, which leads the league as a 1-2 duo in the NFL. Furthermore, they had 110 first downs off 162 catches. So they had 4 less catches than CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. But the kicker here is the percentage of those catches that resulted in first downs was 68%. All right. I'm doing the math here for you guys. I got you covered. Now moving on to number 3. A lot of you guys on Twitter and on Facebook and yada, yada, yada say the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Tampa Bay Bucks in your mind is the number 1 wide receiver group, right? Well, I don't think so. I don't think the Tampa Bay Bucks are the number 1 wide receiver duo in the NFL, and here's why. All right. Mike Evans had 1,006 receiving yards. Chris Godwin had 840 receiving yards. He only played in 12 games, so he would have broke 1,000 yards. However, let's break it down. And number 3 is not bad at all. I mean, they could arguably be number 1. The two combined for 20 touchdowns, 98 first downs, and of those 98 first downs off 135 catches. So if you're doing the math, that's a 73% success rate of moving the chains. So that ranks number 1 overall in moving the chains based on the other duos that I just mentioned. Now, that's why I have them at number 3. Now, if you were to ask me who I would rather have, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin or Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, or Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, give me Mike Evans and Chris Godwin any day of the week. All right, so that's why they're sitting at number 3. At number 2, I know Niner fans are going to hate me. Niner fans are going to hate me for this one. I'm going to say the Seattle Seahawks. All right, the Seattle Seahawks are very underrated. They have DK Metcalf, who in my opinion is going to be a first-team All-Pro this year. He had 1,303 receiving yards. And then you have Tyler Lockett, the all-reliable, dependent Tyler Lockett, who broke 1,054 receiving yards. That was the only wide receiver duo in the NFL who locked in at 1,000-yard receiving positions from both those players who are starting caliber players, and also tied for second in the NFL as far as a wide receiver 1-2 punch duo in touchdowns with 20. And again, they had 183 catches. So the guys who were mentioned, 166 catches, 162 catches, and then 135 catches. And then you had the Seahawks who had 183 catches. All right. 183 catches, 121 of those resulting in first downs. That is a first down catch rate of 66%. So that's why they're at number 2, because, again, do not doubt the Seattle Seahawks and what they have. And with Dwayne Eskridge there playing the slot, oh my gosh, it's just going to be crazy in the NFC West. Wild, wild, wild. And then they have Rondale Moore from Arizona. Tutu Atwell from the LA Rams. Oh my gosh, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. All right, moving on to number 1. Obviously, I still have the Tennessee Titans because Julio Jones is a first ballot Hall of Fame wide receiver, and when healthy, he's the best wide receiver in the game, period. Hands down, no questions asked. All right, you team him up next to A.J. Brown. Now, Julio Jones only played in 9 games last year, and he racked up 771 receiving yards. A.J. Brown racked up 1,075 receiving yards. The two combined for 14 touchdowns, 91 first downs on 121 catches. That ranks them as the highest catch win rate, resulting in first downs at 75%. Just think if Julio Jones can stay healthy. And people who are saying, oh, Julio Jones can't stay healthy. No. In the last 7 years, do the math. In the last 7 years, Julio Jones has been extremely durable, playing 90% of the games. 90% of the games. So you cannot tell me that based on recency bias that he's not going to stay healthy this year. You just can't do it. If I was a betting man, Julio Jones is going to stay healthy. And I don't care about his age. The guy has proven time and time again that he can stay healthy. 90% of the games that he's played in over the last 7 years. Do the math. He's healthy. I don't like when people say, oh, well, he's hurt all the time. No, he's not. 1 year. Recency bias is a real thing. Daniel Middleton says, good morning, Beast. Good morning. Tommy Huxley says, injury-prone safety, Jesus Christos. Wow, we have a lot of stuff. Grand Riser says, Grand Riser, I haven't seen you in a while. Tony Jefferson was a good pickup, low risk possibility, high reward. Similar situation to when we picked up Jason Verrett. Although Jason Verrett has higher upside, in my opinion, I agree with your analysis. Thank you so much, Grand Riser. Esteban Arroyos, Tennessee will score 40 a game and give up 43. Tommy Huxley says Falcons are going to suck pond water. My man 704 Charlotte Bound says, what's good, Beast? What is going on? He says, hit them like buttons. Yeah, hit them like buttons if you guys don't mind. if you guys like the live stream and you guys obviously want to support the work, support the channel, so can also consider sending me a super chat. Obviously, I want to do this full time. We got to make money though. So if all else fails and you're unable to do that, you guys can hit the like button. You guys can engage with me on the social media platform. It's free. It doesn't cost a penny. So if you're on here watching it for longer than, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, you might as well hit the like button while you're at it. Help your boy out. Jets Gang said Jets got more for Sam Darnold than Falcons for Julio. Jets Gang, thank you so much. And we have a huge announcement. If you're just tuning in, we have Mike Schumann on the show tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. For all you Jets fans, again, I cover all 32. I have you covered. We are having, big announcement here, we are having someone who made Jets history, actually NFL history. She, yes, lady, she is going to be hopping on the live stream in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. All you Jets fans, and if you're just an NFL fan, you guys are going to want to stay tuned for this. We're going to have our first female guest here on the BEASTwriter Family Show. So stay tuned for that one. It's going to be lit. You guys are going to have fun with it. And whether you're a Jets fan or a Niners fan or an NFL fan in general, you're really going to want to hear her story as she keeps things 100 from, well, I guess a fan's perspective and scouting perspective. 704 Bound Charlotte says, it is a good chance my Panthers can sweep Falcons this season. Yes, it is very, very possible. 400 Bud 7376 says, Tony Jefferson. I don't like this new banner, not new banner, but this banner I did. I'm going to switch it up. What do you guys think of this one? This one better? Yeah, this is better. This is better, right? Yeah, this is better. All right, Mr. Tina says Richie Grant will ball out in Atlanta. He will. I like Richie Grant, but I liked Javonte Williams a little bit more. That's just me. Don Lovato from the BEASTwriter Fantasy says, Beast, I heard 49ers tried to get Julio Jones. What were they offering to the Falcons? I do not know what they were offering. I do know that they were interested. That's why, however, I kind of heard that they weren't really going to risk anything because they didn't have the draft capital, which is why I put up those tweets. I put up those tweets, and I also put it on my live stream here on YouTube. Everything I post on Twitter, I also post on my live stream on YouTube. In fact, I post more stuff on YouTube. You guys would know, hey, look, yeah, they were interested. But what was the asking price? Well, they have so much draft capital that they gave up to move up from 12 to 3 for Trey Lance. They didn't want to risk any more draft capital in future years because they didn't want to mortgage their future. They already did that. So ultimately, it came down to draft capital. And not only that, but Kyle Juszczyk. What's going to happen with Kyle Juszczyk when the team goes to 11 personnel if Julio Jones is on the roster? You just signed him to a big money contract for him to ride the pine? No, you play him. He's a fullback. You're going to use him in that West Coast offense, and that will open up the play action pass for Trey Lance. Duh. What happened under Mike Shanahan when he had a fullback named William Barnum Floyd? He had him and Ricky Waters back there, and they did the dirty work in the backfield. So I can see a similar result with this current San Francisco 49ers team. 704 Charlotte Bound says, no, they didn't. We traded the 2nd and 4th for Sam and the 6th pick, but we got all that back in the draft by trading back. Yeah, okay, says, what's up, big dog? This is your boy TC. What's going on, man? How are you doing today? Jets Gang says, what the Falcons get, and I'm not talking trade backs. I'm saying that we get, you also was sweet. Jets Gang, they only got 2, 5, and 6. I guess we're talking about different trades. Scumbag Ellis. I like that. Ryan, what's up, brother? I feel that the secondary is the Niners' weakness. Do you agree? A lot of people say the secondary is the team's weakness. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a weakness. I know they need cornerback help, cornerback depth help, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a weakness because, again, I like Jimmy Ward. I think he's a really good player. And I know a lot of people are like, he doesn't have interceptions. Dude, the guy plays sound football in my grading system. The guy plays lights out. Jimmy Ward's good. All right. Jaquasi Tart is serviceable, right? Yeah, Tony Jefferson, you're solid there. They're solid. The boundary quarterbacks, I like Emmanuel Mosley. I like Jason Verrett. I like that. How many teams in the NFL would love to have Jason Verrett and Emmanuel Mosley as your starting 2 cornerbacks? And K'Wan Williams playing the slot. I mean, this team is not as bad as people make it out to be. Now, health is concerned. Yes, and that's where depth plays a role. But with that being said, I don't think it's a weakness. I think they're fine. I would say they're borderline streamlining. They're not too high. They're not too low. They're just where they're supposed to be. All right. Mr. TNA says, is there any sport in this world better for human body than swimming? I don't know, because swimming is low impact, and that's why I like it, because it's easy on my joints. I don't have to do a lot of lifting. There's no strenuous activity involved. The joints get to rest, and you're just, it's low impact. I mean, that's why when you see players recover, they're recovering inside a swimming pool or inside a jacuzzi, right? They're always in water. That's a really good thing to do when you're going through physical therapy. Is you need to hit the sauna, you need to hit the steam room, you need to hit the jacuzzi, you need to hit the, all that stuff. All that plays a role. So swimming is huge. I don't know if there's anything that's better in terms of cardio that's low impact. 7-4 Bound Charlie says, we give up 2nd, 4th, and 6th round picks, but week 1, we giving the Jets a lot more. Jets gang says, yeah, Julio Jones is going to a Hall of Fame. Sam is not. I like Sam Darnold, Jets gang. I do. I like Sam Darnold. I'm on the Sam Darnold train. I know people can laugh at me or say, oh my gosh, he sees ghosts. What are you doing? Or time will tell. Time will tell. Jets gang says, the only thing y'all give me. Okay. Esteban Arroyo says, can't argue with that with Seattle, and Wilson has perfect touch on the deep ball. Yes, the quarterback definitely has a role, right? And there's a lot of different 1-2 wide receiver duos that I think are on the rise. You look at the Miami Dolphins, right? Well, they have a trio of wide receivers. They have Devontae Parker, who's very underrated in my estimation. And then they just drafted Jalen Waddle. But don't forget Will Fuller. Will Fuller was a huge addition for that Miami Dolphins offense, although he's suspended for the first game for violating the performance-enhancing drugs policy. But Will Fuller is going to be a beast with the Miami Dolphins as long as the ball arrives at the catch point and in stride for him to make yards after the catch. I really like Will Fuller. I like them. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns, Jarvis Landry, and Odell Beckham Jr., but can he stay healthy? I don't know. I don't know if OBJ can stay healthy. You also have the Cincinnati Bengals with Tyler Boyd and Jamar Chase. Those guys are going to wreak havoc outside the numbers, and Joe Burrow is going to be amazing. Now the offensive line is a different story. They need help there. But at the end of the day, you get the skill players that you wanted, and Jamar Chase reuniting him with Joe Burrow was such a huge advantage for the team moving forward. I think that's going to be huge for them. Just my opinion. Jamar Chase is a beast in his own right. Now he only runs a limited route tree, 7, 8, 9 fingers. He doesn't run the intermediate routes extremely well, but that can be coached up, obviously, based on who the wide receiver coach is, teaching him how to gain separation at the top of his route. So that can all be learned. But you would think it would be learned at LSU because that's a top program. Mr. TNA says, I have the Seahawks as wide receiver 1 duo and Titans as number 2. Okay. I like it. I like Mr. TNA. Great insight. I laugh when I hear Julio Jones is injury prone. He's one of the healthiest wide receivers in it. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And it just blows my mind that these analysts and these people on TV, oh, can you stay healthy? It's like, dude, do you know what his injury was last year? How many? Nassim trained. That's all I gotta say. When it's like, it all depends on the type of injury. And people talk about soft tissue injuries. Like, okay, well, what about that soft tissue injury? I don't know. I can go on and on about the whatever. Yes, 90% of the time, Julio Jones is healthy. So let's just throw out the injury prone label. He's not. 90% of the games in the last 7 years. I'll take that any day of the week. 7-4 Bound Charlotte says, Jets not beating us week 1. No, they're not. The Jets are not beating you guys week 1. JT Collins says the prize and cause of our labor. Jets gang. 7-4. All right, so here we go. Frank DeBoss. Thankfully, we didn't get Julio in 30s, and I think he's trending down. Ooh, Frank DeBoss. I like your analysis, bro. Frank DeBoss was one of our BEASTwriter family giveaway winners. Frank DeBoss, how you doing today, my man? And he was the winner of the shorts, the Under Armour shorts, that is. He says that Julio Jones is trending down. I would have to disagree. Now watch you be right and I be wrong. No, I just think Julio Jones still has some tread on his tires, yes. But I think he's going to have a 1,000-yard season if he can stay healthy because he's injury prone. Now watch him get injured. No, but honestly, I think he's going to go over 1,000 yards, and here's the reason why. The Tennessee Titans needed a deep threat wide receiver to take the load off of Derrick Henry, who is also facing a stacked box more than any other NFL team, right? More than any other offense, the Tennessee Titans go up against a stacked box. Well, what happens is when you have that strong safety that rolls up in run support, now that leaves one-on-one on the outside because that single high safety doesn't have enough ground to cover. What happens is you can use that tight end and just run him down as a decoy down the seams. And if he can beat that linebacker down the seams on the hook curl route, well, that's going to force the safety, the single high safety, to either take on the nearest defender or the nearest receiver, or help out on the boundary cornerback, which will be lined up at the split end position opposite of Julio Jones. What that does is you can run play action pass. You can do a lot of window shopping pre-snap to get the advantage that you want in terms of mismatches. And Julio Jones will see a lot of one-on-ones outside. So you're going to see Julio Jones make, if you're a fantasy football player, all right, I strongly urge you to draft Julio Jones, especially if you're playing in PPR. I know Tennessee Titans are a run-heavy first team, but Julio Jones is going to make hell of a plays, 75, 80 catches, 1,300 yards, 10, 12 touchdowns if he stays healthy, possibly even more. Because, again, he's getting one-on-one looks. He's getting one-on-one looks against a stacked box. And if Derrick Henry is continuing wearing down defenses on that defensive front seven, forcing that strong safety to play up in the box, and they still can't stop, well, then now you're having possibly even 9 men in the box. And then you spread them out wide, and then what? You're left with one-on-one either way you look at it. So Julio Jones is going to be a beast. I like Julio Jones. Well, maybe that's because I'm a Roll Tide fan. I don't know. Brad Lodge, how many safeties make the 53-man roster and which ones? Great question. I am going to do my 53-man roster prediction. If you guys haven't followed me for that, for those over the course of the years, my success rate is 92% on guessing the 53-man roster. So ever since I became a beat writer back in 2013, 92% success rate of landing the 53-man roster. Scott Henderson says, where are you ranking Debo and Brandon? They were hard to leave off the list. How can you leave off Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk? Those guys are probably the best 1-2 wide receiver duo in the NFL in terms of, being under the age of 25 years old. So these kids can really play and really shine. I like the 210. I like that wide receiver duo. They're hard to leave off the list as well. So when I mentioned the other 5, I go off a body of work. I go off consistency. I go off of health and durability. Debo Samuel, I think, who's going to shine this year, going to prove doubters wrong. I think a lot of people are bearish on Debo Samuel, and they shouldn't be because of recency bias because he was injured last year, but he's going to bounce back in a big way. So both him and Brandon Ayuk are just fine. They're going to probably crack. Well, they cracked my top 10 of wide receiver duos in the NFL. So that's where they stand. Jets Gang says, I'll tune in. Center for Bound Charlotte says, my Panthers has a top 10 wide receiver core. You do. There are another one to leave off. 704 Bound Charlotte, you guys lost, obviously, Curtis Samuel to the Washington football team, who was also in my top 10 with Terry McLaurin. You guys have DJ Moore, one of the most underrated wide receivers in the NFL. Just like on the other side of the ball, you have edge Brian Burns, who in my estimation is a top 10 edge rusher. So you team him up with my top 25 guy on my big board, and you get him at what you guys get him at pick number 52 or something like that, 59. I think you guys got him in Terrace Marshall, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the 50s, right? Terrace Marshall is going to be a monster for Sam Darnold. I really like those guys, those two players. They're going to work well off each other. Terrace Marshall and DJ Moore, look out for those guys. They're obviously in my top 10. Jets Gang, so do the Jets. Tommy Huxley says Jets still not breaking 500. Yeah, I don't know. Man. Let's go ahead. CT Niner in the house says Ayuk will be 1,000-yard receiver. Yes, receiver this year. Bank it. I think, yeah, I would take it to the bank. I think it's almost a given that he's going to go after 1,000 yards this year. I don't even think it's a question. In fact, if he doesn't get 1,000 yards, I'd be surprised. Here in the BEASTwriter family, I'd be surprised if he didn't hit 1,000 yards. That'd be a disappointment for me if he didn't go over 1,000. Just calling it. I think it's more of a surprise if he doesn't go over 1,000 yards. Jets King says, yeah, because Sam CD, here we go. Don Lovato says Jets Gang 49ers were 13-3, 2019. Get your back. Tommy Huxley says, oh, there's a lot of stuff on Jets Gang. What's going on? All right. Here we go. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. And if you want to hop on the live stream, please be sure to do so. You can do so right now. just go into the call in, and there is the ticker to go ahead and click in, and you can talk to yours truly. I'll be sure to answer any questions that you may have. Now let's talk about Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers is going to the Green Bay Packers, obviously. Or is he? Is he going to report to training camp? That's the $1 million question. I'm not so sure if he's going to report to training camp. What are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers, and what do you think he's ultimately going to end up if he doesn't report? Is he going to force a trade? My gut feeling today, I should say my gut feeling, but my feeling today is he's ultimately going to report. When it's all said and done, they're going to clear the air and he's going to report. I just can't see an MVP just retiring like that. Now, Brett Favre came out and was like, yeah, this is the same kind of situation that I was in. And I don't know what's going to happen there, but I don't know. Mr. TA said, if I would be a betting man, I would look for Ryan Tannehill MVP chances. We have Fortnite's Ultimate Report on. And how are you doing, John Jay?
What's up, man?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just this thing, I was hearing about it a few months ago about the Tony Jefferson, and there was a YouTube channel that covers NFL, a small YouTube channel like myself, and they said that there was an inside source that he had that the Tony Jefferson.
I don't like it already. I don't like it already.
Anyway, well, basically, that's where I'm pivoting to. Basically, I thought that this was just a smoke screen. This was what wasn't going to happen. And then early this morning, it was reported, and he was signed, and I was a little bit shocked, that they brought him in, and then I look at the information and I'm like, oh wow, I thought he played last year, but he suffered an ACL injury and then he missed out. So, in my take is if he is healthy and if he can still produce in the same level that he did a few years ago, I think this is a good steal for the 49ers, but I'm not putting my hopes up yet. I'm going to wait and see what he does before I make my last assessment.
So you don't think he's going to I think it's a good signing, but is he going to return to logically what was out there to begin with? There's a reason why he was on the street and not signed. And he's coming off a torn ACL. Those things are not easy to come back from. Now, if you're a different beast like Nick Bosa, yeah, I'll put my money on Nick Bosa any day of the week. All right. But Tony Jefferson, I don't know, especially not playing all of 2020. I mean, at least Nick Bosa played part of 2020, even though it was early on in the year, but he still played. He was still getting ready for the season. Tony Jefferson, to me, is a smart signing. It's a low risk, high reward signing. So I like that aspect of it. But he's just a stopgap solution. All right. So I wouldn't get my hopes up, but I do like the signing because what do they have to lose? Nothing. Right. They needed depth there. Do you think it's been brought to my attention too, that do you think that the cornerback position or the secondary is the weakest on the team?
That's a hard question for me to answer because I don't want to say yes or no. I do think that, when it comes to Jason Verrett's history, how is he going to do in his second year? Can he stay healthy, especially for that 17th game? K'Wan Williams has also battled, in and out of the lineup. Jaquaski Tard, Jimmy Ward. So when those guys are on the field, those guys are really good. But at the same time, I'm not putting any high hopes yet until they can, be on that field for not just like half the year or 10 games, but can they be on it for the whole year? Because it's tough. So it's right now, it's a 50-50. It's a 50-50. So it's hard for me to give a real response until, you can see, what's going on. Plus, a lot of information, the receivers are getting hurt. So, it's a lot of concern right now.
Oh, yeah.
Until the season starts.
Oh, no, you're absolutely correct, bro. All right, so a question's been brought to my attention. You can see it, right? Who's my top 10 running backs according to my grading system? That's tough because I always project the year going into it, and I'm still formulating my grades. But off the top of my head, I mean, Derrick Henry's up there. I think I have him one. But going into the year, I mean, you had guys like Christian McCaffrey, injured. Yeah, guys like Saquon Barkley. To be honest with you, those two guys are neck and neck as to who my top running back is in the NFL, hands down. One healthy. If I was to start a NFL roster today and I was the GM, and right now is the time to trade for one of those guys because, again, you're getting buyer's remorse. People are scared because of his injury history. They don't know how they're going to bounce back. I would actually take a risk. Call me crazy, but I weigh the risk versus reward based on my grading system, and I would trade for Saquon Barkley. I would trade for a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, Alvin Kamara is up there as well. You can't leave him out. But, you guys get the picture. Talking about players who are coming off an injury and heading into the 2021 season, Christian McCaffrey is going to be another 1,000-yard receiver, another 1,000-yard back, just like Roger Craig was. All right. Because they have multiple weapons now. They have Terrace Marshall there, right? He can take a top off the defense. He can open down the seams. He's going to open up a lot of things for, obviously, DJ Moore. He's going to do the work, underneath. I really like so if a team was asking me, hey, Beast, all right, and I'm the GM of an NFL franchise and say, okay, is Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey on the trading block? Yeah. Okay, what do you guys want for him? We want a first-round pick. Oh, I would pull that trigger in a heartbeat. I would pull that, even if it's a top 10 first-round pick, I would pull that trigger in a heartbeat because Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey are both generational talents, in my opinion. And if I'm going to tie myself to anything and being a blockbuster deal, I would trade for one of those players. I don't care how high or low that first-round pick, because those first-round picks are not guaranteed anyways. How many of those first-round picks actually pan out from the running back position to be Pro Bowl or All-Pro talent? I actually broke this down on an earlier live stream, and it's about a 60% success rate, right? I have the exact number. I have to break it down. I can pull that up in my analytics. But with that being said, how many of those in the top 10 are actually hittable? Now you're hitting at a higher success rate. I'm going to say I would take Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley if it only took a first-round pick. Now, the interesting about this is, how funny was it that the Jets were willing to move up for a guy like Elijah Vera Tucker in the draft, right? Giving up multiple picks, first-round picks, whatever. But yet, there was no team willing to give up a first-round pick for the Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones at the time. How interesting was that? I mean, he's a surefire first-ballot Hall of Fame player. I don't care about his age. He's still going to put up good numbers for the next 2-3 years. I mean, his window's 2 to 3 years. How surprised were you about that?
Not really, you
weren't surprised at all that they didn't get a first-round pick, that no team stepped forward for a first-round pick for Julio Jones, a future first-ballot Hall of Fame wide receiver who still has tread on his tires, yes, but who plays in 90% of the games, is not injury-prone, and is in the prime of his career. I don't think he's in the twilight of his career. I think he's in the prime of his career. So, yeah. So you're not surprised. I'm surprised, but you're not surprised. You're not surprised. Tell me why you're not surprised.
Well, the reason why I'm not surprised is that, the majority of the league still, they have a lot of financial problems, So one of the things that I knew that no team was going to give up a first round pick, knowing that, they have to sign, rookie players, and, a lot of teams are really, really bad. So
yeah,
the Titans, they were also bad, but they took a huge risk. But right. They did not want to give up a first round pick. Like, the only team that I saw, probably the only two teams, and I was wrong and Vegas was wrong, was the Patriots or the Chargers, because they also had enough cap space to sign their rookies and bring them in. But at the end of the day, like I said, I wasn't surprised because, I knew there's an Atlanta Falcons fan who follows me, and he was telling me the same thing. So at the end of the day, I believe him because he has the ears on the ground. And, that's what, they were saying, that they were not going to get first rounder, a talent, the same, equivalent to Julio Jones.
That it's just mind boggling. Because again, if I was a GM and I wanted Julio Jones, that's the talk. The talk of the town right now is everything's in hindsight. How come no one stepped up to the table and gave up a first round pick for Julio Jones? If you're a team on the verge of getting that team over the Super Bowl, right, to that Super Bowl hump, wouldn't it make logical sense? Obviously, we don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. If the Green Bay Packers and Brian Gutekunst went ahead and made that trade, gave up a first-round pick for Julio Jones, now you got Julio Jones and Devontae Adams, how scary would that dynamic be, right? Now you're keeping him in the NFC, and I don't care what people say. Oh, well, they want to trade him out of the AFC. Let me tell you something. The Falcons are not relevant this year. They're not going to be relevant next year. They're not going to be relevant the year after that. It's like a 3 to 4 year window with the Atlanta Falcons. So by the time they become relevant again, Julio Jones is going to be retired or in the twilight of his career. So it really makes no sense, no difference where he was traded to, because they're not relevant. They won't be relevant in the next few years. That's how many holes they have on both sides of the football. And with the new coaching staff and new GM in the front office, they're trying to change the cultural identity. That takes at least 2 to 3 years, at least minimum. More times than not. So with that being said, I just don't see it. Now we're gonna have someone on here, like we're boosting up our guests on here. We're gonna have, like you said, Mike Schumann. I saw you saw that. Gave me a shout out on that. Mike Schumann's hopping on the live stream tomorrow, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to talk about that. Obviously, he played under Bill Walsh, played with Joe Montana. He knows the West Coast offense more than anything else. He's going to break it down what Julio Jones would have meant to San Francisco or any other team. And if he was the GM, if he would have pulled the trigger, I think I know where he's going with that, knowing Shu the way I know Shu. But it's interesting. Like, if it was me, I would pull the trigger on the first round pick. I don't care. I mean, how many of these first round picks actually pan out? They don't. But yeah, okay, getting back to the running back position, who are your top running backs? I just mentioned mine: Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, guys like that. Derrick Henry, of course. Who's your top 5 running backs off the top of your head?
Let's see. What's his name? He plays in Minnesota.
Dalvin Cook.
I have him number 1, and
wow.
the reason why I say this, is that, Kirk Cousins, throws, for a lot of yards, but Dalvin Cook's production is very good in that system. Against Green Bay, he had a monster game last, season. That guy can do a lot of stuff as well, and he doesn't get a lot of respect because he's in Minnesota. Like everyone gives, what's his name? The guy from the Cowboys, Elliott. They give him so much credit. Oh, he's the best running back in the NFL because he plays for the Cowboys. It really shows you that there's a little bit of bias. I like Alvin Kamara. I see him more as an all-purpose back. He can catch 80 catches. He can get you a lot of yards, in the pass game. And he's also a good running back. And then, and I do like Saquon Barkley. I know he didn't have, the best, numbers in college, but there's a reason why he was considered one of the best prospects, that year he came out. It's just that he's been injured. But imagine if he was on another team, not the Giants, he could be like, much better than most people. So those are the 3 guys I like at running back. It may not be, the best running backs, but those guys, they do a lot for their teams. And I mean a lot versus all the other running backs that just do, one certain thing that they're really good at.
Yeah. So you talk about the one-trick pony, and I always talk about this, and that's part of my grading system is how do they complete the offense, right? Are they good in pass pro, or are they taken out in pass pro? Are they good run blockers? I mean, sometimes, yards after the catch, do they help out and string the wide receiver for extra yards after the catch? Do they hustle? These are things outside of the stat box that you want to see. Aside from that, what I look for in my grading system is that running back a dual threat running back? Derrick Henry is not a dual threat running back, but what he does really well, like the best in the game. Like, I'm not going to doubt that. But Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, they're just built different. They're just built different, bro. And if you're going to open up a playbook, and if you were Kyle Shanahan, you would look at it and be like, well, yeah, Derrick Henry may be the top running back in the NFL, but for my system, I want a guy like Dalvin Cook. I want a guy like, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, who can really be a dual threat receiver, dual threat running back, whatever the case may be. He's not a one-trick pony. So, yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I think you look for, I don't even know if that's a word, duality. I don't even know if that's even a word, but I'm going to make it up. That sounds cool, huh? Duality in that position, or from that position, because at the end of the day, the more you can do, the more valuable you are to the team. And in doing so, the longer career you will have. If you guys remember Terrell Davis, right? Terrell Davis from the Denver Broncos started off on special teams. And I believe it was against the San Francisco 49ers where he just laid the wood on the special teams kickoff, and that garnered the attention of the Denver Broncos coaching staff. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's what happened. And again, the more you can do, you're going to be on the roster longer than someone who's just a one-trick pony. You look at guys like Ron Dane. I mean, yeah, Ron Dane was cool at Wisconsin, right? But all he could do was run. I mean, he was just like a big big back. He didn't have like that second gear. He was just like that short yardage situation back. Thunder and lightning with TK Barber all the time. Yeah, I don't know. I just like a dual threat running back. All right. So what else is on your mind, man, before I let you go?
I wanted to piggyback on, what you said about running back, like Frank Gore.
Yeah.
Frank Gore, even though like during his career, I kind of felt bad for him, watching him as a teenager, into my young adult years, and he can catch the ball, he can run, like his second year, there was a reason why he had all those yards in the second year, and he really made the offense relevant during that tough, boring, sad, time, and he was the guy, and so he knew how to catch the ball, get the yards, also run through the tackles, pound the ball, get the yards, and keep the possessions moving. And that's why Frank Gore, even right now, which I still don't understand how this guy, I think at 38, 39, is still playing in the NFL after having some bad luck in college with injuries. There are players who have injuries like Nick Bosa. Hopefully he proves me wrong, because I'm still a little bit, on the fence with them. But if he proves me wrong and he is a defensive player, I will go on my show and I will, call myself out, because that dude, what I see on some of his social media, he's running already, he's moving, so the Bosas, it's true. They have different bodies. I've never seen a person like that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for Project Max for the super chat and super sticker. He asked, what's Lance's ceiling and will he reach it? Lance's ceiling, there is no ceiling for Trey Lance. I think he can be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I think he can be Pat Mahomes good. I really do. I know that sounds crazy, but that's his ceiling. He can be whatever he wants to be. Will it happen? I don't know, but his potential is there to be the best quarterback possibly to ever play in San Francisco. I know that sounds crazy with the likes of Joe Montana and Steve Young, but that potential in today's NFL and what he can do in today's NFL, the way the rules are set up, it's for him to succeed. And the way he's going to succeed under Kyle Shanahan's scheme, sky's the limit for that kid. So again, thank you so much for the super chat and super sticker, and I appreciate the love and support. Thank you so much, John Jay, for hopping on the stream. And again, always good vibes here in the BEASTwriter family from my man, John Jay. John Jay, thank you so much for joining us.
And remember, subscribe to this channel. Let's get on to 3K. Let's get on 3K. Let's grow
3K,
this guy,
man. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's get 3K. I'm going to hop on your show. Obviously, I have CJ Ruthless Sports that wants me to hop on his show as well. We got to collab with him too, because he's always on the show. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I don't know, when do you want me on your show? I have time later this evening if you want to do that. But again, it's up to you when you can fit me into your schedule. So
let's see.
Let me know.
You see, I'm free because I wasn't planning on doing nothing, but I'll email you the information, and if you can hop on, then we can do something.
All right, I'll be hopping off here, going to the gym, then coming back. So it'll probably be sometime after 5.
Okay.
If that's okay with you. If not, we could. If not, because again, tomorrow I have a few live streams popping up, scheduled live streams. So yeah, if you want to do it around 5 or 6 or 7, I don't care. Whatever. Okay. Whatever you want, dude. All right. Thank you so much, John Jay. Appreciate the love, my man. All right. So we have a lot of stuff in here. There is a lot of comments here coming through. And a lot of it's about the I have no idea what you guys are talking about right now. Actually, I do know what you guys are talking about. Oh, Mr. TA says Miles Sanders will enter top 6 discussion in 2021. I believe it. I like Miles Sanders. If you guys follow my tweets, again, Miles Sanders played behind Saquon Barkley at Penn State. Miles Sanders to me was an absolute steal. I said it, and people were like, "Nah, he didn't do well in college." I'm like, "Okay, watch Miles Sanders, man. Boom, check out that Twitter receipt." Yeah, running backs are nice. Jason Ellsworth from the BEASTwriter family says, what's up, BEASTwriter family? Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope you had a good weekend as well. Good vibes only here in the BEASTwriter family. All right, let's go ahead and break it down. Julio Jones, everyone's talking about Julio Jones, and we went ahead and touched base on that. We touched base on Aaron Rodgers. We touched based on my top 1-2 wide receiver duos in the NFL. And now we're going to go ahead and break it down as to the Tony Jefferson signing, obviously with the San Francisco 49ers, tore his ACL back in 2019, didn't play in 2020, now is signed on with the San Francisco 49ers as a camp body. We're going to see how that goes. But ultimately, it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes up. Obviously, if you were to ask me, I think this would be a good podcast or a good live stream, is asking you guys, in your opinion, what the biggest weakness is on the team. Is it the offensive line? Is it the secondary? Is it the linebackers? Is it the defensive line? Is it the pass rush? Right? Because if Nick Bosa goes down, there is no pass rush. You can't rely on Kerry Hyder Jr. anymore because he's not there. So who do you ultimately have? You guys know what you're getting with other players when Nick Bosa is out of the lineup. We already seen it last year. The proof is in the pudding. But when he's in the lineup, yeah, everyone gets to eat. But when he's out of the lineup, the other players should already be eating, and they're not. Javon Kinlaw, to me, is going to be an absolute stud this year. I already went on record and said it. I'm his biggest inspiration. He tweeted that out to me. He's going to end up with 5 to 10 sacks next year, or this year, excuse me. Mark my words, he's going to have 5 to 10 sacks if he can stay healthy, which I think he is, because the guy has Pro Bowl potential. The guy is going to be a monster. He's going to eat. Whether Nick Bosa is there or not, he's still going to put up 5 to 10 sacks. The question mark for me is Eric Armstead. Eric Armstead, where have you been all my life? Now, if Nick Bosa is healthy, Eric Armstead could possibly lead the NFL in sacks. He's Daniel Stellfield 2.0. We have Tommy Huxley on here. Tommy Huxley, how are you doing?
What's going on, Beast?
What is going on, my man? Happy Mahalo Mondays. Someone said that, and I like that. I think I'm going to go with that. Mahalo Mondays. I like your glasses. You should keep your shades on, bro.
You don't like my eyes?
I like your eyes, too. I like your eyes, too.
Kidding.
How you been?
It's kind of brighter. Not bad.
What's going on with you?
Better.
What's on your mind, bro?
I'm so happy that Julio did not go to the NFC West, so I could care less where he went. But he wanted to go to a team that has a QB that throws. I don't really see Tannehill with a strong arm. I don't know about you.
No, he doesn't have a strong arm. Here's the thing that I want people to understand here in the BEASTwriter family, right? Because I run my own grading systems. I follow the Tennessee Titans. I follow their personnel groupings. I know how they run their offense, okay? I am telling you right now, it doesn't matter how accurate Ryan Tannehill is throwing the deep ball, because of Julio Jones's catch radius, he can go ahead and find the football. He can find the football at the catch point, and he's going to get one-on-one looks. So what that means is Ryan Tannehill doesn't have to be supremely accurate throwing to the receiver in stride, because at the end of the day, he's getting a one-on-one matchup where that safety can't get over in time because he has to take on whoever's pulling down the seams, or he's going to be stacked up in the box. So he can't help out on the back end. That's what people don't realize. And if Derrick Henry is consistently gashing 4 or 5 yards, extending drives, that's going to wear down the defensive front seven. Now that box safety is going to be worn down, and then the play action pass wears off of that. And what's going to happen off the play action pass? Well, you still have A.J. Brown working underneath, so that's going to bring up that linebacker close on those crossing routes. And now you have Julio Jones streaking down the field. I'm telling you right now, Julio Jones is going to go over 1,000 yards, probably 1,200 yards. He'll have at least 10 touchdowns, Because if you think about it, let's talk about not between the 20s, but let's talk about red zone efficiency. Down inside the red zone efficiency, they don't have Jonas Smith anymore, right? He went off to the New England Patriots. So the targets are going to go up for whoever that wide receiver is. And that's going to be Julio Jones, because more times than not, once it shrinks down, these defenders are playing up. You're going to have to be mindful of who? Down inside the red zone. Derrick Henry, right? So that's going to be Derrick Henry. So you're going to see a lot of one-on-one for Julio Jones. I'm excited for Julio. This is the best scenario for Julio Jones, in my opinion, other than San Francisco 49ers. If you're on San Francisco, oh my gosh. Oh my God.
And Henry, he's a good catcher of the ball too, good catching back. So
yeah,
there's another option there.
Question: Hal Sherman and Ambry, I can't even talk. Ambry, the Michigan quarterback, doing any good news on them? Yeah, Trey Sermon, I said, is going to go over 1,000 yards from scrimmage.
Whoa.
Yeah. I think he's got 1,000 scrimmage yards. Yes. Trey Sermon, you heard it here in the BEASTwriter family, he's going to go over 1,000 scrimmage yards this year. Mark my words. And he's going to be in line for Offensive Rookie of the Year. That's how high I am on Trey Sermon. I'm very high on Trey Sermon.
Yeah, your stuff is you're good at doing that. So I think I believe you.
Here's the thing, right? If you're a betting man, and I'm not, you would have made a lot of money off my predictions. The over-under fantasy football. But I'm not a betting man, because if I were to make that bet, these predictions probably wouldn't hold up. But Trey Sermon, again, he can get 600 rushing yards easily, 400 yards receiving easily. And you cannot tell me that now that Jeff Wilson went down to injury, that Raheem Mostert can be the focal point. He's going to get injured at some point during the year. And that's going to leave Trey Sermon with the lion's share of the reps. And a 17-game schedule. You have an extra game now. So that's why I think Trey Sermon's going to go over 1,000. Dude, Trey Sermon's going to be a monster, bro. Everyone's going to be like, oh, dude, that's 2 Ohio State players. Dude, you can arguably have Nick Bosa come out of Ohio State and Trey Sermon come out of Ohio State and both being rookie of the years by the team that drafted them. And you can honestly say that Ohio State is a farm system for the San Francisco 49ers. That's how good I believe Trey Sermon's going to be and ultimately starting that trend. I just like Trey Sermon. He's a beast.
Yeah. I've seen some of his film. He's great. He's kind of the guy, that short yardage back kind of.
But he has, yes, you're right. Here's the thing that I want people to realize here in the BEASTwriter family. He has speed. Okay.
Yeah. Just because he doesn't run a 4.3 doesn't mean he's not fast.
Right. And for the running back position, I don't care if you run a 4.6. I'll still draft you. He ran a 4.56, 4.57, something like that, something in that range in the 40-yard dash. That's really good for a guy his size, because what happens is if you look at how he runs and how he runs his splits and how he leverages, breaking tackles, she's the Louise. I mean, the guy is a perfect system back. I'm telling you, remember when Mike Shanahan had those Denver Bronco running backs of Volandis Gary, Mike Anderson? You can basically plug and play anyone, and they were like getting 1,400 yards.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to see with Trey Sermon.
So didn't LaDainian Tomlinson start on the Broncos too?
No. He was drafted by the Chargers.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Dude, it's just crazy, man. I think Trey Sermon's going to be a monster. I think Trey Sermon's going to be a monster.
I hope so, because we really need that bell cow, but also it's kind of that 3-legged horse or whatever you call it. I don't know who's going to be the other people. Maybe Hasty's going to break out. Who knows? For the number 2.
Okay, so Michael Hasty, anybody who is a system back, or Elijah Mitchell, people are talking about his speed. He's good for the system. Yeah. Elijah Mitchell might break into the act. He might be the number 2. Yeah, you can't coach speed.
No.
So
he's just as fast as Mostert. Like they both ran the same thing, right?
Yeah, dude, the guy's freaking blazing fast, and it's going to be interesting to see how he does. But I really like Trey Sermon. I think he's going to be a monster, bro. Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate. Watch. If he gets the line reps.
Yeah.
I'm going to make that bet.
Okay. So on that line of running back, you're huge on the Soul Snatcher and Najee Harris. So who's going to be the best?
Oh, Najee Harris.
Yeah?
Yeah. Najee Harris. He'll probably end up.
Steelers, they really need to fix that offense. I mean, it was so one-dimensional. Because the Steelers are my second team. I mean, way second to the Niners. But watching that offense was painful. So one-dimensional. So, I mean, they have great receivers. But, and they got Chase. What's his name?
Chase Claypool. Yeah. So, no, here's the thing. The Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line is not as bad as people make it out to be. In fact, Kevin Dotson, I put up a podcast on this. You guys can watch this, or I don't know why I call it podcast, but not even a live stream. I put up a video on YouTube, and I talked about why, right? Kevin Dotson and David DeCastro and David Dotson. Why Alex Highsmith, their third-round pick last year, who's replacing Bud Dupree, and why Kevin Dotson this year, who's replacing Matt Filer, and obviously the retired with Marquise Pouncey out and whatever. The Kevin Dotson and David DeCastro are going to be the best 1-2 combo, interior guard combo in the NFL. Kevin Dotson is an all-pro player in my grading system, and that no one knows about. No one's talking about him. The Raging Cajun, right? Kevin Dotson, mark my words. All right. The last Raging Cajun that was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, was Ike Taylor. All right. With that being said, Kevin Dotson, I'm telling you, in my grading system, he was playing at a first-team All-Pro level, and now you have David DeCastro, who's playing at a first-team All-Pro level. You have 2 guys there on the interior. You bring back B.J. Finney, right, who was, kind of like bouncing around teams. I think he was with the Seattle Seahawks and the Cincinnati Bengals, and then came back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the offensive tackles, they'll have lost Alejandro Villanueva, but you know, Chukwuma Okorofor, you have Zach Banner coming back from injury. So there's some players there that you can actually win with. And if you're a run first team, Zach Banner is definitely a good run blocker. So Najee Harris is going to eat. I like Najee Harris, bro. I'm still high. You guys know how I feel about Najee Harris. That's my draft crush.
Yeah.
And,
Rookie of the year, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. The guy, as long as he stays healthy, you know, because he runs hard.
Yeah.
But if he stays healthy.
I don't see why not. I don't see why he wouldn't. I mean, because they're more of a pass first team anyway.
Yeah. Now with a new offensive coordinator, they're going to a more throwback run first team. So that was the team. Yeah. So now they're going to a more throwback style of an offense. Now they have Chase Claypool. They have Deontay Johnson there. They obviously have Washington there. James Washington, the second round pick out of Oklahoma State, I believe. So with that being said, they have a plethora of, and then Juju Smith-Schuster obviously came back, on a 1-year prove-it deal because he loved the Pittsburgh Steelers so much. So you can kind of see where they're going. Their offense is pretty much set. They have Eric Ebron back. They just drafted Pat Freiermuth, who I really liked. That's who I had them mocked to get in the second round. He actually went there. That's what I was heard that they were targeting anyways. He goes there, very underrated. Obviously, Vance McDonald, I believe, retired. Right? If I'm not mistaken, I think Vance McDonald retired, so they need a replacement there. They're fine on offense. Now, are they going to be great? Are they going to be great? No, because the offensive line is definitely a weakness on the team.
Yeah.
But Najee Harris is going to make everything better.
Oh, great.
You're like, oh, great.
No, I mean, yeah. Sorry.
Right.
I think I agree with that.
What else is on your mind before I let you go, Tommy?
Nothing really. I mean, let's see. Oh, and how about the injuries? I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, maybe Mostert is kind of, just his same injury he keeps getting, and well, it wasn't an ankle. It was because what did he have, the MCL last time? The first injury he had.
Dude, the guy's just been banged up, man. Like I don't know what else to say. He has too many injuries. He's injury prone, right?
So
they need a back that can stay healthy. All right, I talked about this.
Exactly.
This running back by committee approach is not going to be.
Yeah, there you go.
Feasible. It's not feasible in the long run because at the end of the day, we already talked about this with the former 49er offensive lineman who was on the show, and Dylan Farrell. And we talked about the chemistry that you need behind that running back. You know, you can leverage your splits this way. If you know the ball is going this way on outside zone runs, you can kind of know based on who your running back is that he can slip that block and just hit the second level with ease, getting extra valuable yards because you have that rapport with that running back. It's hard to do it when you keep on rotating running backs in and out, because you're not building up that same chemistry. So that's why it's very important that Trey Sermon gets the lion's share of the reps and just roll with the punches because Trey Sermon has little to no tread on his tires. I mean, he's a transfer. He transferred to Ohio State last year.
Yeah.
I'm high on Trey Sermon, dude. Now watch Trey Sermon just
Oh man, I hope not. But I think that all the injuries are just because no one's in football shape right now. So
yeah, exactly.
I really don't think we're gonna get as bad as 2020. That was just ridiculous.
Right.
But we still have the most injuries we're in the top 10 of injuries teams, I think, in the last few seasons. So
very true. Very true.
Oh,
well, thank you so much, Tommy. I appreciate the love and support, bro. And thank you for hopping on the show. You need to come on more often, bro. I love talking to you.
Definitely. Great seeing you. Keep up the great work. And I'll see you next time.
All right, buddy. Take it easy.
You too.
All right, mahalo. All right, that was Tommy Huxley, a guy called Ed from the BEASTwriter Fantasy. His thoughts on Najee Harris' ability as a pass blocker. I was going to say pass blocker, but that didn't make sense. As a pass blocker, he's serviceable. He does a good job in pass pro. Again, I graded him all for the better half of the last 2 years. He really improved, I would say, his last year as opposed to the year prior to that, back in 2019. He's fine in pass pro. He's fine in pass pro. Now, he's the best. Is he a Frank Gore type? No, but he's good. He's solid in pass pro. I really like his pass protection and what he brings to the table. So he'll be in there on third downs. Definitely. JT Collins says, Mahalo. Tommy, a guy called, I said, Tommy Huxley play a song next time. Oh, yes, that's right. He does play, right? Doesn't he play guitar or something? We should have him on here. We should definitely have him on here. All right, guys. So I think that's going to wrap up this live stream. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. If you guys did, please hit the subscribe button if you have yet to do so in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be hopping on back on a live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys missed the news, go ahead and check out the community page. I update that regularly in between posting videos and content so you guys can stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. If you guys haven't heard the news, Mike Schumann, my good friend Mike Schumann, is going to be on the show tomorrow at 11 a.m. All right. This was a fun one, guys. And again, I am very happy the way the channel is going, the way the BEASTwriter family movement is growing. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and tell all your family and friends because we do giveaways, guys. We run giveaways, and it's all for you guys. So again, thank you so much for the love and support. And mahalo again for the good vibes only here in the BEASTwriter family. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day. BEASTwriter out.